Good evening, Excellency. Good evening, friends. A warm welcome to the Foreign Correspondents Club of South Asia. We are delighted to have you with us, Mr. Ton Sinh Tan, the Ambassador of Vietnam. We had the privilege of hosting him last year also, and he was very kind to readily accept my invitation to come and talk to us. As you know, India's Look East, now Act East policy. Vietnam is a very important, country in the region, and relations between India and Vietnam have been on the upswing. To talk about the India-Vietnam relations, I invite the ambassador to tell us about the latest and the future of relations between our two countries. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me to this press club. I'm happy to be back here again. And today I would like to inform you of the new developments in the India-Vietnam relations. I'm happy to inform you that there is some important progress in our relationship over the past 1 year. First, I must say that the economic relation between Vietnam and India now has some improvement especially in trade and investments. In the first 9 months of this year, bilateral trade has reached 5.6 billion US dollars. That is according to our data. But according to Indian data, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, it was already 6.26 billion US dollars. That is higher than our data. This is an increase of 40% in comparison with the same period last year. 40%. Much higher than the increase of world trade and our trade with other countries. I think it's also higher than trade of India with other countries, though I think the India trade is also on the rise now. So at this rate, bilateral trade between India and Vietnam may reach more than 10 billion US dollars this year. And we hope that we can achieve the target of 15 billion US dollars by the year 2020. This target set by our leaders. So India now is among the top 10 trading partners of Vietnam. Progress is also in the investment area. In the first 10 months, India has 36 new projects in Vietnam with a total value of 182 million US dollars. So India now ranks 15 among all foreign investors in Vietnam. So in terms of tourism, last year we received 85,000 Indian tourists. It was an increase of 30% in comparison with the year 2015. So we don't have data this year yet, but with this rate we can expect 120,000 Indian tourists to arrive in Vietnam this year. And we hope that there will be a direct flight between India and Vietnam soon, hopefully end of this year. Then the number of Indian tourists to Vietnam will increase even more and faster. We also would like to inform you that towards the end of this year, we shall have a few more activities to promote economic relations between Vietnam and India. This year, Vietnam will be the partner country of International Trade Fair in Pragati Maidan, which will start from 14 November. And in December, we also have a tourism roadshow in both Delhi and Mumbai. So we hope with this economic relation between Vietnam, including trade and investment and tourism, will further expand between two countries. I also would like to inform you that this year, 2017, is a friendship year between Vietnam and India, because we are celebrating 45th anniversary of diplomatic relation between Vietnam and India. And this is also, we are also celebrating the 10 year of strategic partnership between our two countries. We also join the celebration of ASEAN and India to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the dialogue partner between India and ASEAN, in which we are the coordinator for 3 years from last year. So to celebrate on this anniversary, we have many activities, especially the cultural and people-to-people exchange. Since beginning of the year, we have, up to now, we have already 3 music and dance troupes coming from Vietnam to perform here in India. And there have been already 2 photo exhibitions and 2 painting exhibitions by the Vietnamese artist took place in India. And in September, there was Indo-Vietnam People's Friendship Festival in Delhi and Chandigarh and also Simla. And also in September, in Delhi University, we organized a seminar on India-Vietnam relation. The theme was emerging horizons in India-Vietnam relations. And in Vietnam, I think the Indian embassy there also organized quite many activities, including the activities like International Yoga Day, Buddhist festival, and food festival. So during the year there are many activities. And towards the end of the year, we shall also have some more other activities, including one cultural, I think 2 more cultural troupes from Vietnam will come. One in November, which will perform in Ahmedabad, Delhi, and Chennai. And in November, there will be another cultural troupe from Vietnam. So there are a lot of activities to celebrate the 45th anniversary of our relationship. I also want to inform you that political relations between Vietnam and India this year have been further strengthened by exchange of visits at different levels. But I must mention that early of the year we have a visit by our Media and Communication Minister to India, in which two sides have reached quite many agreements on information and technology and other areas also. And and in July, our Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister paid an official visit to India. He attended the daily dialogue, but it was also the bilateral visit when the two sides has agreed on a plan of action to implement the comprehensive strategic partnership. This strategic partnership, the comprehensive strategic partnership has been agreed upon during the visit by Prime Minister Modi to Vietnam last year in September. So now we have a plan of action to realize this strategic partnership. On the Indian side, we also have visit from the Minister of State for External Affairs, General V.K. Sinh, and Minister of State for Commerce, Nirmala Sitharaman, who visited Vietnam My wife. So there are quite many exchange visits, and quite recently, in October last month, the political consultation between the two foreign ministries and also the strategic dialogue was held in Vietnam successfully between two countries. And I will also inform you that for the first time, the Chief Justice of Vietnam will visit India from 26 to 29 this month. So, and early next year, in January, our Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc will pay an official visit to India to attend the special ASEAN-India Summit and also attend the Republic Day ceremony of India. So, exchange of visit between two countries at even higher level is going on. And we expect more high-level visit will come in the next year. I also like to inform you that defense and security cooperation between our two countries remain the most intensive and effective pillar. The two sides are implementing the joint vision statement on India-Vietnam defense relation for the period of 2015-2020, signed between the two defense ministers in 2015. The defense delegation exchange at various levels and from leaders to specialists have taken place quite regularly, in which many important agreements have been signed and projects are being implemented. Just recently, in October and November, the Navy Chief of India and Air Force Chief of India have visited Vietnam, respectively. And a few days time, we shall have a visit by our Senior Lieutenant General, the Lương Cường, the Chief of the Political Affairs of the Vietnam Army, to India. So in a few days' time. So this is he is the second person in our defense ministry in charge of political affairs. In defense cooperation, the annual Deputy Ministerial Defense Dialogue is also an important interaction between two countries. This year, it also took place in Vietnam. The naval cooperation between two countries is a highlight, in which India helps training Vietnam Navy crew and for both combat and technical personnel. And India also sent experts to Vietnam conducting on-site technical support to repair the warship, the weapon upgrading and shipbuilding. We also have a good cooperation in defense supplies and defense training and cooperation in defense and in terms of science, technology and education, the progress is also witnessed. The agreements and MOUs on exploration of and use of the outer space for peaceful use, and IT cooperation, cybersecurity was signed during the visit by Prime Minister Modi to Vietnam, and it has been ratified by both parliaments of the two countries, and they are now being implemented. And in terms of education, India has been very active in assisting Vietnam in training quality workforce in many areas, including IT, law, English language. Every year we receive about 150 scholarships from India, which I believe that's highest number among other countries who receive scholarship from India. Besides, we have hundreds of self-financing Vietnamese students who have chosen India as a higher education destination, thanks to its reputation as a country with good universities at low cost. So I have looked at different areas of cooperation between the two countries, which are the major pillars of the comprehensive strategic partnership between our two countries. And in conclusion, I can say that our relationship are now better than ever. Our relation with India are free from any problem, and it is always as clear as sky without cloud, as stated by our former Prime Minister Phạm Văn Đồng long time ago. It is based on the traditional friendship, long-term partnership, and high level of mutual trust and convergence of strategic interests of our two countries. That is why our two countries have very good political relationship and also strong security and defense cooperation. Vietnam and India also have a convergence on the outlook and approach on major international issues. Our two countries have worked closely in many international organizations, including United Nations, WTO, ASEAN. India highly values Vietnam as a coordinating country for ASEAN-India relation, ASEAN-India dialogue partner, and also appreciate the support from Vietnam for its permanent membership in the reform and expanded UN Security Council. Vietnam confirmed the support for India for the candidature for non-permanent membership for the Security Council in the term of 2021 and 2022. And India also has confirmed its support to Vietnam in that position in the Security Council for the year 2020 and 2021. So I can say that Vietnam and India are not only two reliable partners, but we are trusted friends, and more than that, we are like two brothers. We are willing to share almost all bilateral and multilateral issues, including South China Sea issue. Both Vietnam and India underscore the maintaining peace and stability, maritime and aviation freedom, security and freedom of the countries inside and outside the region. We upheld the principle of dealing with dispute through peaceful means in line with international law, including the United Convention on the Law of the Seas, UNCLOS, while stressing the need for self-restraint with full implementation of the DOC, Code of Conduct of Parties in each sea, and looking forward binding Code of Conduct COC. So, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Ambassador. Now, questions. Yeah, please, just a minute. Wait for the microphone. This is going to be on YouTube. Right now it is being put on Facebook Live. So kindly switch off the mobile phones and make sure not much noise is. Thank you. Yeah.
Your Excellency, thanks the way you have spoken. India is always a good friend and will continue to be good friend. But I will like to ask you one question. How your brave country is going to tackle this Chinese threat over Chinese Sea? Because off and on we have seen that they give you small threats, especially on the question of ONGC when it started working. So I will like to know your views about this, Your Excellency.
This is quite a broad question, I think. I must say that China is not only a big country, but also a big neighbor in the north. So I think India and Vietnam is in the same position. We should always have a good relation with our neighbor, and we especially the bigger neighbor. Yeah, and concerning the problems in the East Sea, South China Sea, the problem is quite complicated. Yeah, it is not only related to the islands, but also the exclusive economic zone. So there's a dispute on two ways, and it is also related to not only Vietnam but other ASEAN countries also. Not all of them, but some other littoral countries. So I think we don't have any other way other than having, first of all, dialogue and negotiations. We cannot go to solve by force, and we should not, move the situation to move to the situation that we have to be involved in conflict. Yeah. So there should be more diplomatic and more, including the legal measures to solve the problems. So especially for smaller countries like Vietnam and other ASEAN countries, of course, we have to be prepared.
Provided Big Brother is also ready.
Yeah, so we have to defend our sovereignty. Whatever belongs to Vietnam, we have to defend ourselves. We have to defend our the islands which belong to Vietnam. We have to defend our exclusive economic zone, and we also defend our interests there, economic interests there. We also defend the joint venture, economic joint venture with other countries, which are totally inside our jurisdiction area. So our position is very clear, and pending a solution for this disputes, which is, I think, will take a long time. And together with other countries, especially ASEAN, have already entered with China or declaration on the conducts, on the code of conducts in South China Sea. It is just declaration, DOC. But now ASEAN and China is now negotiating on a more binding code of conduct, which I hope will be more effective for maintain peace and security in the region. At the same time, we need the support from other countries inside and outside the regions, because South China Sea is not only the property of littoral countries, but it is a trade route of many other countries in the world, including major powers like US, Japan, India also. 50% of India trade pass through South China Sea. So the interests of major powers are there. They should have a voice, right? You can imagine if South China Sea is unstable or it is blocked, then what will happen to the international trade? So we welcome on the constructive engagement by other countries in the region.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Wish all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
Ambassador, I just reached late because of this traffic jam. So I just wanted to know from you, in the event of Trump's forthcoming visit in the APEC meeting in Vietnam, India will be definitely interested in joining APEC, keeping in mind our past civilizational link, including contemporary relations. Indians will be definitely interested in seeking support from Vietnam in joining APEC. So how do you think from that point of view? And secondly, about this, we are very soon going to witness in Indo-Pacific region. It will be a world political theater, which includes South China Sea. And we all know India's point of view, you have told also. And in the event of global powers taking active part in Indo-Pacific, I think Indo-Vietnam relations will take a dramatic turn. It should be effective. I wanted to know your point of view.
I think India now is a big player in Asia Pacific, in Indo, or you can say Indo-Pacific region. So our position is that India should be part of the APEC. India economy is quite big and is leading the growth rate of the world economy now. Is highest rate in the world. If you compare with Southeast Asia, even Southeast Asia and Northeast Asia and Europe, you can see this region, South Asia now is moving fast forward, especially India. So it will be not equitable for the region if India is excluded from this process. So we support India. From Vietnam, we support India strongly. When the moratorium is moved and the group started to discuss about recruiting more members. So Vietnam is always there to support India.
Yes.
Your Excellency, my question is about the proposed visit that you said takes place in January of your Prime Minister. If you could just tell us a bit more about it, because he's also going to be the chief guest for the Independence Republic Day function. So
Yes.
if you could just tell us a bit more about his itinerary and whom all he's going to meet during that function.
Yeah, you know, this year we're celebrating the 25th anniversary of ASEAN-India dialogue partnership. So we were invited by the Indian government. All ASEAN leaders were invited to attend a special India-ASEAN summit here, and also the Republic Day ceremony. So we are very happy to be here on this very auspicious occasion. So Vietnam is now the coordinator of ASEAN-India dialogue partnership for 3 years. So up to end of 2018. So we are very happy, and we are among the first to support this idea, and we confirm coming here. Our Prime Minister will be here.
Actually, this is a related thing. It will be for the first time in the history of India as a republic that so many heads of state or government from the ASEAN region will be taking part in India's Republic Day function. In the past, most of the time we had only one chief guest. Once we had two, Marshal Tito and Sirimao Bandaranaike. That was a long time ago, during Nehru's time. So this is a historic thing, that so many prime ministers and presidents from the entire ASEAN region will be taking part in this fantastic Republic Day celebration on Rajpath in Delhi. What is the latest? Till recently, about only 3 people have confirmed. Now, how many are actually going to come, Excellency? Do we have any information? Singapore, Vietnam, and some other countries. Which ones? I don't remember now.
I don't have any information, but I think and I hope that all the leaders of the ASEAN countries will come, and it reflects the unity of ASEAN. And also the idea of ASEAN dealing with whole group, not only with individual country, but also whole group of ASEAN. So it has quite a good meaning for these activities.
Right. Sridhar.
So I just wanted to know your views. There have been some conflicting reports about whether Vietnam is interested in acquiring the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile from India, the BrahMos missile. Apparently, somebody in your Ministry of Defense had confirmed it, then it was denied. So what is the factual position? Is Vietnam interested in acquiring the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile, which, as you know, has been developed jointly by India and Russia? And the second question I have is, though it has been about 3 months or 3.5 months since the Doklam issue was resolved between India and China, what was Vietnam's position on that issue? And while the standoff was on, did you extend support to India, or did you react after the standoff ended? Thank you.
Concerning the BrahMos purchase, I don't have any information on it. Yeah. We are for Vietnam. We need to import equipment, defense equipment from other countries, including India. Not only India, but other countries also. But I myself don't have any information, details about whether we buy the BrahMos or not. I have to say friendly to you, so I don't have. Yeah, and Doklam, we are happy that it ended peacefully without any serious conflict there. And we always support the dialogue and negotiation to solve the problems or dispute, especially territorial dispute among other countries. We have same problem, so we also have the same position. Countries should avoid forces or threat to use of force in settling the disputes.
Support the Indian position on Doklam?
We support peaceful settlement of dispute.
Okay. Ramesh?
Thank you. Excellency, for the first time in nearly a decade, we'll see officials from 4 countries, India, Japan, the US, and Australia, meet on the margins of the ASEAN summit in Manila later this month. From what would be the Vietnamese perspective on this so-called quadrilateral dynamic which is taking shape in the Indo-Pacific region? And the second question is to do with semantics, language. President Trump has reported that will move from using the phrase Asia-Pacific to Indo-Pacific for the foreseeable future. At a broader level, what will that imply for Vietnam and the region at large? And also, India has moved from look east to act east. So in your estimation, is India acting east enough? If not, what would you want India to do differently? Thank you.
Okay. I think the alignments among two, three, four countries, it is up to the countries to decide. Yeah. And I think if it is not against any other countries, so then and it may we have to see, whether it is becoming a block or becoming something that make the situation more tense, right? But in fact, we don't have a position on official position on this. That's what I think only. But for Vietnam, we shall not join any bloc to go against other countries, or we don't side with one party to go against the other. It's not good for Vietnam to be tied up with any bloc. So we would like to have good relations with all countries, with all major powers also.
Excellent.
And Indo-Pacific now become Asia-Pacific now become, I think it's, as I has just said, India now is a big player now, and Indian Ocean is become more important. More attention are now paid to Indian Ocean. So, and India, in fact, Indian Ocean is very well connected with Pacific, across the South China Sea. So all areas are now related, especially in this Asia and Indian Ocean and Pacific. Then I think it seems that more we are moving more towards the Indo-Pacific area rather than just Asia-Pacific. Right? But Indo-Pacific should include also Asia. We cannot forget the northern part. I think we welcome Act East policy, especially when you move from Look East to Act East. And I hope it can move another level to act fast.
Look East, act fast East. Excellency, when the ONGC Limited or OVL was not able to find oil in your area, you extended the contract for some more time. What is the situation? How long will that contract continue? Have the Indians had any luck in finding some oil or gas in the region which was allotted to them to find oil? What is the situation? And when the contract for 2 years, I think, expires, will you consider extending it?
We have signed I think we have signed a contract with the ONGC to extend another year, and ONGC also asking for some other blocks. So we are now looking into their request.
Okay.
We are always welcome more
Participation
of Indian companies in Vietnam, especially oil and gas companies in our exclusive economic zone. You know that India oil and gas industry has been present in Vietnam since 1988. It's one of the earliest birth in our oil and gas industries. And India has, the ONGC has quite profitable on this project.
Great. If there are no more questions, I just want to say, oh, you have? Yeah, Sridhar, go ahead. Yeah.
So with the PM Modi now also set to go to the ASEAN region for a summit, what is your view on India's role in ASEAN? Because there are some countries which are politically now close to China, like the Philippines. Yet there are some countries which have had a past of conflict with China, like yours. So, in a situation like this, when the countries in the ASEAN region themselves have got divergent views on various issues, what is your view on the Indian role in ASEAN?
You know that the policy of ASEAN is to have a close relationship, not only political but economic relationship with all major powers, major economic centers in the world. That's why we have ASEAN now have a very intensive network of relationship partnership. I think it's very unique in the world when an organization has such a network of partnership with other countries. This reflects the policy of ASEAN to have relationship with an balanced relationship with all major powers. Yeah, we welcome all constructive engagement and cooperation with major powers. Not only with China, not only with the US, European Union, but India also. I think India, we always welcome more active role of India in Southeast Asia. Not only Vietnam, but other ASEAN countries also always welcome India. Welcome more economic engagement and engagement in other areas also of India.
Excellency, after one of the bloodiest wars in history, the Americans fought in Vietnam. I think Mr. Trump is due in Vietnam. I don't know if he's the first American president to visit, or Obama was there, I can't remember.
Obama, even Clinton
Was also there. Okay, right. Now, the Americans have started investing in Vietnam in a big way. How would you describe the current relations between Vietnam and the United States?
We have very good relationship with. He says he know better. And it's getting better and better, especially with the visit of Prime Minister, President Donald Trump to Vietnam. I think both in economic terms and in terms of other areas also.
Well, that concludes the interaction, formal interaction. Thank you very much, Ambassador. Thank you, friends, for coming.